Take it away, you guys.
Thanks, Michaela. So I'm actually I'll just do a quick introduction, then I'm gonna let Danielle take the lead on the presentation. So I'm Lisa Melohusky. I'm the online learning coordinator at Fredonia, part of DOODLE, a former board member and now just hanger-oner. So I'm happy to be here, continuing to help both with the summit and with DOODLE. And I'll let Danielle take it away.
All right, thanks, Lisa. I'm Danielle O'Brien, the Director of Online Learning at Alfred State College. And right now I'm actually the secretary for DOODLE. Lisa, we used to be the chair, so don't let her. That's why we get to keep encouraging her to come back to help us with things. Before we get started, Alex, I didn't know if you wanted to say a few words just to kind of wrap up the summit, or if you wanted to do that at the end. Totally up to you.
So Danielle, sorry, yeah, at the end would be cool. Let's do that.
Okay, sounds good. So we'll start by, if everyone could just put your name and your institution in the chat. And then we do have a Google Doc. We'll share the link with you a couple times in the chat, but Lisa will pop it in right now. Our first question that we want you to start thinking about is, why are you here attending this session? So what brought you here? What made you on a Friday afternoon decide to come back after lunch and chat with us for a little while? So if you could just put your comments and thoughts in that Google Doc of what made you want to come. I wish we had real coffee, right, that we could serve everyone and chat with, but hopefully everyone brought their own. So while you work on that, we wanted to just explain first a little bit about who DOODLE is, or what DOODLE is. So we are the directors of online distance learning environments, but we're really more than directors. When the group was first started, it was really started by folks who were leading the initiative for online education across the SUNY system. And we've opened up, we invite folks from SUNY and CUNY and other smaller institutions or private institutions can join as well. But most of our membership is really SUNY system folks. And it's really anyone who has to engage with, or who gets to engage with online and distance learning on their campus. So it is a membership that we pay. You get access to a workplace group that we have in the SUNY community, and a lot of really others who are grappling with the same challenges that you are, and then others who have found solutions that might be able to be adapted to your campus. So we're a pretty open group. We love to share all of the work that we do, and we try not to recreate the wheel too many times. So if you're interested in learning more or in joining us, there is the doodle.suny.edu where you can either request a membership or reach out to one of us, and we will be happy to chat a little bit more with you about what DOODLE is and how you get involved. Anything to add, Lisa?
No, I think that's the very respectable introduction of what DOODLE is. And then you have to come to some of our events to learn more about how this group works.
All right. And then we do want to take a moment. We did lose one of our founding members of DOODLE recently. So for those of you who knew Bob Knipe, he passed away on Saturday. And the obituary is absolutely beautifully written, and will that Lisa will also put that in the chat. But for any of you who knew him or who want to reach out with condolences, there is information that we have there. So we just wanted to take a minute to recognize someone who was really instrumental in online education at SUNY, and particularly with our DOODLE group. All right, so now let's jump right in to our agenda. So like we said, the first thing was your name and institution in the chat so that we know who all attended. And then on the Google Doc, starting to think about why you're attending the session and writing that down. Lisa, how are we doing with that? Should we give folks a minute to write why they're attending the session? Or should we jump into our part 2 activity? You're muted.
Let's pause for, let's give everyone 2 to 3 minutes and have them jump in the doc. I'm going to put the link in there again.
Sounds
for
good.
those of you who just came in.
So yes, for anyone who did come in while we were going through the beginning of our presentation there, we're asking that you use the Google Doc and write about what made you want to attend this session. Maybe what are you hoping to get out of it? Really just why on a Friday afternoon you decided to spend your time with us.
Danielle, I think we can take a look at the first part of the doc. People are going ahead and filling out the second part, which is great too. So if you want to jump right in and start adding there while we review through the part 1 piece, that's great. And Danielle, since you set up this Google Doc, someone's asking, all the comments in here in the Google Doc are anonymous. And does that just happen because you set it to anyone with the link can edit? So it's not a special setting. You're muted too. Danielle, you're muted.
I've been trying to be so good about that. Happens to the best of us, right?
Every time.
Yeah. No, it's not a setting. It is because I just said that anyone who wants to come in can come in. Even earlier in the document that we were using for the compassion fatigue session, I noticed that everyone was anonymous in that one as well. So you may be able to log in. I'm not sure about that.
So I'm logged in and it did not pick me up. It's
Okay.
still, I was still an anonymous something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lisa, I think if you were logged in and if the doc was officially shared with you, then I think you would at least be able to be found in the history.
Okay, that's good to know.
I think, pretty sure that's the case.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds right, Robin. All right, so it looks like we have some comments about, so I want to start thinking about post-COVID, when we can offer more fun professional development rather than just in time PD. So that, I think a lot of us are probably feeling that if we're on that instructional designer or trainer kind of role there at our campus. Wish we could attend more of the summit. Yeah, and I think that that's one of the maybe challenges of having a virtual event is it's really easy to get sidetracked or to have a meeting pop up that you feel like you have to go to instead of this. And, you know, the recordings are available, but I don't know, that might be how we spend Saturday or Sunday watching recordings of sessions that we missed that we wanted to see.
Or listening as you're driving somewhere. And
Right, and make it your new podcast.
Um, can I make another suggestion about the Google sharing? Can, Danielle, you're sharing your screen. If you stop sharing your screen, we can then see the gallery of faces who are looking at us, because we're all on probably limited screen space right now and have this big Google Doc up of our
Yes.
own.
I can stop. Oh no, I don't want to reshare. I want to stop sharing.
I guess I can also make it smaller myself.
No, it's okay. As long as everyone's in the document and doesn't need me to share it, then we're all good.
Mhm. And in a session of this sort, we should model good practices and smile at each other if we have the ability and desire to do so.
There you go. All right. So this is all looking great, right? Folks wondering what experts think of the future of online will be, connecting with others. So I'm glad to see that one, because this session, our part 2, is really going to help hopefully fill in that gap where a lot of times at a conference you run into someone or start having conversation with them over coffee. The next thing you know, you're exchanging business cards or email addresses, and you're creating that partnership to further some sort of a conversation. So that's going to be our part 2 right there, is helping to make some of those connections that maybe were missed because of the nature of the conference that we had. Some folks wanting to improve their online approach. I was really excited to see how many faculty were able to attend some of the sessions, and that is a little unusual. I think for the summit, we don't tend to see as many faculty attend, so maybe that's a good takeaway from having the virtual event. It really was that access piece, right? More folks were able to join in and engage in sessions that they thought were really interesting, which is good.
I think
Summit
the
is always a
fact
sign
it
of
was
spring.
free, Danielle, I think the fact that it was free was also a factor.
Yes.
Right, because not everyone has travel budget, and really the summit, you know, anyone was always welcome, and it was always streamed live for the last 15 years. But I think that the Remote Teaching Institute from the CPD helped to amplify some of the awareness. And I think that the faculty themselves have interest in looking for professional development. And then the fact that it was free, I think really has helped us. We had over 100 participants in almost every session. And I think according to the CPD, we had 600 people register. So wow. It was, and I think I've seen that, or at least I've heard that from the CPD, that it's been similar for other events. I think people are really looking for opportunities, and I think the fact that it's free just does not hurt.
Yeah, that's a great point, Alex. Free is always, I think, an incentive, right, to attend, even if it's just a couple sessions that you're interested in. So there's
a question in the chat about corresponding conferences specifically for instructors. What would this group recommend to an instructor who was looking for more, I'm assuming, about teaching online or remotely and being online with the students? Is there conferences that SUNY runs? What would people recommend?
So I would think CIT potentially would have a lot of opportunities for faculty, and that's coming up usually at the end of May, right? Is when we have CIT. That one, usually there's a lot of sessions about teaching practices that were tried from faculty, or research that's being conducted in the classroom. So, and Lisa just popped in the chat the link to CIT. I believe that is also free and virtual this year. So that would be a good one. If anyone else has other conferences, I know the Online Learning Consortium does have conferences. They are not free and they are not cheap, but they are really great conferences if you're looking to expand some of your teaching toolbox, for sure. And then Chris Price also might have some suggestions. He's probably not here in the session, but we could reach out to him see if there's some things that are specifically recommended.
So I put a link in the chat just today on the professional and organizational developer listserv.
Yes.
They shared a really great site that has been in place for many years that collects information about conferences that are relating to scholarly teaching practices. And so I would definitely look at that. In addition, I'm going to also put into the chat, they have a great database of journals in that same realm. So just since that was in the same email, I'm going to put that into the chat. And just how many people can say they love POD? Just the listserv and its group and its conferences.
Yeah, it's awesome. And they usually publish To Improve the Academy, which is a very research-based book. I think it's annually. I don't think that it's twice a year. I think it's just once a year. But that's a great resource too if you're looking for some really hardcore research-based practices and teaching.
Nice response, Susan.
Yeah.
Oh,
So Tom is asking in the chat, right? We're all being bombarded by free Zoom meetings, from different vendors, from different publishers and everything. Can we take a second and put in the chat or turn your mic on and say how you decide which ones are worth your time? Because that is a tough thing to do. And you shouldn't be ashamed to hang up on a free presentation if it isn't meeting what you thought it was going to when you get in there.
Right, if you're not getting those good resources or something.
Yeah, I take the time to read about them all now because I've gone to ones that are on the fringe of what I'm doing, and then I get information from that really is of use to faculty and to supporting student communities. So I know it's a lot and I know they come in all the time, but I just do a quick scan and see what it might be. And if I'm really interested, I put that time aside. If I'm sort of interested, I do, I'll double dip and say, I'll let that one run while I'm doing some work. And then something catches my attention or something like that. But I found that being open to stuff I didn't think was going to be of value has really turned into things of value.
That's awesome. Thank you. I think there's little nuggets that we can collect from different places, right? But you do have to, like you said, Phyllis, either have that time set aside designated if you really know that you want to engage, or just have it something running in the background, and if something piques your interest, to pay attention.
And I have kind of a color coding kind of system on my calendar, whether it's a really good one or, maybe if I get time, or half an ear or a quarter of an ear, or register and get the recording and have it for some time when I get the chance.
That's what I was just going to say. I register for a lot of things just to get the recording so that I can maybe fast forward to the part that I know I want, or maybe it's because I want to share it with someone else, right? So yeah, I do have those that I just want the recording.
And then in my email, I can search for the word recording so that when I do want to listen to something, and I have some free time, I say listen, because I listen a lot as compared to watch in the car, on a walk, doing work. That's probably the worst one because you're trying to do two things that you need to concentrate on.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's all really great. So one of the last comments I think that I see on this part one is someone from Mohawk Valley Community College that wants to be more involved in working groups and committees. So we don't hear that very often. If you want to reach out to Lisa or I, we're happy to find out a little bit more about where your interest areas are, and then we can help you to find those groups that really would impact your work, right? And that you would have a lot to contribute. So rather than signing up for tons of random committees, we're happy to help you try to find committees around SUNY that are maybe a good fit for what you're hoping to contribute. And that goes for anyone.
Danielle, I'm putting your email in the box too.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
I'm volunteering you.
all good. Yes, we're happy to connect and help folks find those groups that help them and that they can help. So it's good. We always learn things when we're working with others. All right, so I think, are we ready to move on to part 2?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so if we can scroll down on that Google Doc, we're looking for what questions or ideas do you want to explore more? So these are things, maybe that you heard about, maybe you were giving half an ear to a summit presentation and we're thinking, oh, I actually want to learn more about that, or I want to learn how another institution does something. Could be on a specific topic, or it could be something that there wasn't a session about this week, but you're still curious about or want to learn more. Yes, Megan, we can reshare the link.
I'm getting it. Getting it.
So we'll give you a couple minutes to think about what you may want to explore more, have additional conversation about, think more deeply about.
So I have to admit, I put the first one thing in about high flex, and I went to a meeting this morning after I wrote this and read the definition that whoever the anonymous person is pasting in there to the meeting room, and they said to me, "Oh, well, we're not going to do that this fall then. We're not ready for that." And I thought, I've already solved my own problem just by writing the question in the doc. This is great.
There you go.
They were overwhelmed by just this definition, and I am very grateful that they could see that up front.
Right, that it is a lot of work and it takes a lot more thought than just, yep, we're going to do it.
Right.
So,
Right.
oh, Teresa's claiming the anonymous alligator. So
Nice. Thanks,
Well,
Teresa.
Well, it's just actually at Oswego, there was a work group that convened for the fall that I was part of, and we just kind of wrapped our head around it for ourselves. And it was 7 faculty and me. Yay.
Yay.
Yeah, they have totally different ideas on what this is, and they're all saying, well, what do we need an ID for? And it's like they truly, I love my faculty. They have been wonderful through this whole craziness, but they really don't understand what this is. And I kept throwing the SUNY definition at them.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't want to hear it. And I said, well, if you don't use this definition, you're going to hear about it from the registrar, because that's what he's going to go by. And you're really not doing this in the spirit of which it was intended. So yeah, we're still having stuff going back and forth with this, even though technically the provost said we're done. Oh yeah. But yeah, it was just, I didn't realize it was you, Lisa. Otherwise I wouldn't have put it in there.
No, it's okay. No,
it's good. It's in there for anyone else now.
I attended the high flex presentation yesterday, looking for the highs and lows from that group, and it was very useful. And that recording will be shared with the group that I was speaking to this morning, because it's the perfect starting point for a campus that hasn't done this at all yet.
That and then the document that Craig Lamps shared, because I had found that already too, and I shared it with our group. But that document is extremely helpful. Looking at some of the stuff that Brian Beatty has done. Again, they're all really helpful to help you wrap your head around this and fight with your faculty to say, no, that's not high flex, this is.
I love how they talked about that the recommendation was that somebody should start with a fully online course first, teach that, and then move that into high flex. And I think that kind of opened everybody's eyes as to where it should originate from and how to set it up. So that I really liked. That kind of backed up what we've been saying.
Well, as you say, Donna, it adds that intentional component to it. You have that a class that has been intentionally developed for fully online development, and then you can go back, take a step back and look at it and figure out how you would manage all of those pieces in there with your faculty, because we're even finding too, and I'm sure everybody already knows, and sometimes we're told no, it's not the case, but even for faculty when they're developing hybrid courses, they struggle too, because they're not necessarily looking at it with the pedagogical components or need that needs to be done. It's many times, oh, I just don't want to be in the classroom. And if there's faculty on this call, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to say that's all faculty, but it's just been some of my experience with some of my faculty who have been looking to do that.
Yeah, and another resource that was put in the chat, Andrea just added it, was the High Flex conference from the summer. So there's sessions in there. It was very interesting. And I think for institutions who are looking to get into the High Flex modality, that really could be a great resource because there were multiple sessions that were part of that conference. That's great. So the next set of questions that I'm seeing kind of in our part 2 is really about our work environment. And I don't know that we have an answer for this, but it would be really interesting to, I think, have a task force or something from at the system level, right? To look at fully online faculty positions, fully online ID positions. How do we leverage the instructional designers that we have in the system to either work across campuses or help each other across campuses? A lot of us share, a lot of our faculty share, but how do we kind of leverage all of that with the idea of remote work or partial remote work, depending on, the institution. And I think that most of us have proven during COVID that we can do it, but some of us don't want to do it, right? There are some people who say, I love going to work every day. I like the structure. I like the routine. And I that's what I want. So I think we have to respect that there are those folks out there too, who really want that structure. But then there's also others that want either a hybrid where there's some flexibility or fully remote. And Lisa and I were actually talking before we started the session about how we're at very rural institutions, and a lot of you are as well. Sometimes it's hard to find faculty or IDs or staff in general who are willing to commit to moving to Alfred, New York, right? So how do we get the best qualified candidates out there with giving them some of that flexibility to work either partially or fully remote? So I don't have an answer. If anyone does, let us know.
I feel like I've seen too a few ID positions popping up lately. Do campuses have any open searches right now? If you have an open search, you could throw it in your chat. I think it'll be interesting to see. Our instructional designer at Fredonia is on, and I think she's been with us 3 years. It is, if you're looking for a new career that has lots of job openings, right? You are in demand as an ID right now. And I think there's a lot of opportunity to go places. When we filled that position, it was competitive, but we were competing against multiple other SUNY schools, and much like Alfred, to convince people to move to Fredonia, right? We sometimes have difficulty with that. So yeah, so I think I am hoping that we see more hires in Fredonia, because I think COVID has shown us that we don't have enough people to support our faculty. We're not enough, right? Many of us are at campuses with 1, 2, maybe 3 if you're really lucky. And I think that we need to consider what that does to the department and how it leaves students and faculty kind of empty-handed at times.
Yeah,
If I could, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Terry. Go ahead, Terry.
I just want a quick comment on that point, that I hope we all as institutions learn a lesson about remote work too, because it's the most highly in demand field, but it's also been proven that instructional designers can work at a distance. So attracting them to your particular location may not be required if you want to be able to expand your pool. So I think that's going to be interesting how the institutions all evolve in terms of remote work. So I just want to throw that out.
Right, and will we evolve, right? Because that's higher ed.
Exactly, will we? Yep. If we don't, then they'll go to industry where they do, probably, because we've all had a taste of working from home too, both good, bad, and ugly.
Yeah, I wonder if this is an opportunity for our SUNY community to somehow put language together to convince administration that even though they've survived with a single ID, if that, for so many years now, think to rethink and go to a different normal. How can we do that?
Yeah, and I think one of the ways system is offering instructional design as a service to the institution. And I think right now that it's like you say that you want to use it and then they give you a quote based on number of courses or faculty supported or something like that. If anyone's on that knows a little bit more about the details of that, feel free to jump in. But I think that that's one way that system is trying to help us as a campus not necessarily have to hire an instructional designer, but be able to contract some of the services as needed. So
Hey.
Kim just asked if Alex is here.
Alex here. So I obviously want to give her the chance to talk about it if she is, but maybe she signed out. So, you know, we've had this as an offering from, you know, SUNY Online, Open SUNY for a couple of years now. And, you know, we've had most, I think, of what we've seen before COVID where somebody was in transition with an instructional designer and they needed somebody, you know, to come in and kind of fill a gap while they were hiring someone. But you know, over the summer, we had, I think, 1 or 2 campuses say we need help for this time period, getting ready for the fall term. We have 1 or 2 campuses taking advantage of it this spring. I think we're you know, trying to do a little more promotion of that for the coming year. And, you know, I think when we look at the kind of lessons learned from what we're doing with the Degrees at Scale initiative in terms of providing that as a service to multiple campuses, I think we are, you know, really trying to think about how do we do this in a way that supports campuses and can be flexible based on what campuses have in place and what you may want to supplement. So, you know, I think if there are folks who, you know, want to think about that, we're kind of highlighting these as a service new things in the SLA for the coming year. Those that SLA gets distributed to CAOs, CFOs, and CIOs. So if you want, you know, to elevate that or express interest in that, you know, we're hoping to get the SLA out in the next week or so for next year's services. So you can, and of course, you'll all see a copy of that in the Doodle space as well. Feel free.
Thanks, Kim.
Oh, Alex is here, right?
She was on, so I
Yep.
maybe.
My internet crapped out and I had to like reboot everything. I don't know why. This is the first time all summit that happened. And all of a sudden everyone was frozen. I'm like, what's going on? And anyway, I'm back. Yeah. And so I missed that. What did I miss?
So Alex, there was a question about instructional design as a service. So I just kind of talked about that at a high level. Maybe you want to just say a little bit about what it includes and what kinds of things you've done.
Yeah, I can describe it. We piloted it over the fall, spring, a modified version of what we did during the emergency remote based on lessons learned from that. And so basically it's a drop-in room and we give you a custom quote based on the amount of time and number of faculty, amount of time meaning the length of time. Is it 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? Is it, you know, what that time frame is? And we have a Zoom room open from 9 to 4 and we break for lunch because it's basically me, Rob, and Aaron, right? And we run everything through the help desk. So if you don't have help desk services through SUNY Online, that's part of the package that we quote on, because we need to triage things through the help desk in order, number one, to track and provide reporting, and number two, to ascertain whether or not the instructor actually needs instructional design help or is it technical in nature, right? And so the help desk will take a pass at triaging. If they determine that it's an instructional design question, they get passed to us in the room, and we track it. It's a Zoom session, so we We staff it and track it during those hours and provide weekly reports to the campus on usage and so forth, and also topics and areas that are covered. And we work closely with the campus to determine, what some potentially unique things that might be happening on the campus that we should be aware of. And then one of the features of the drop-in services that we host focused topic drop-in sessions. And so if you want us for kind of like an entire development cycle leading up to a term, then every week we would host a focused topic. And so it might be on rubrics, or it might be on the grade book, or it might be on how to ask a good discussion question, or and we collaborate with the help desk on this. So on technical things like how to set up your grade book, or reporting and those kinds of things, our help desk folks come and lead those sessions. But if it's instructional designy, like how to do a good discussion question, that would be one of us. And then the campus helps us by, making sure to get the word out to their community, to make sure that the faculty are aware. And we record those sessions and make them available along with the materials that are associated on a special page for the institution that has that's purchased that service. And it's been, great and successful. And I think that the campuses that have utilized it, it's been different. Like one campus has no ID, so they really needed help leading up to the fall, for example. Another, has been doing this for a long time, but they just wanted the security of having an overflow to assist faculty because of COVID and the whole remote thing. They just didn't, they wanted to have a little bit of a security in terms of coverage and, kind of extending their ability to support people. So yeah, and then there've been a couple of others. So if anyone's interested, please reach out and let me know. We do custom quotes on this based on the unique needs and timeframes and so forth of the campus, and we'd be happy to chat with you about what we could do. Oh, we're working right now with another campus on a completely different model. Just to let you know, this is where the campus is triaging for us. They're working on a different project and they just don't want to take certain calls from their faculty. So during that period of time, they are just going to say, here is a Zoom link, go talk to Rob or whoever, about this. So they've contracted for a year-long service, and they just want to be able to occasionally pick and choose which faculty to send over to us. So we haven't done that. This is a new one that we're trying out. But I just wanted to mention that, we work with you to try and figure out what's going to work best for you and your campus and your faculty and your budget and all that. So
that's great. So it sounds like there's lots of opportunities for flexibility there too, for the campus to get what they're really looking for and what they feel like they need. So that's awesome. Thanks for sharing.
It has to work for us too, Danielle, right? Because it's really a partnership, kind of a collaboration to figure out what we can do that could also help you in the way that you need it.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Okay, so let's move on to our second part of part 2, which is where we are going to help make those connections. So since everyone is anonymous, if you would like to claim your idea or your question in the Google Doc, feel free to put your name or your contact information next to it. If not, that's totally fine. But what we're going to ask now is for folks to scan the document and put in your name and your contact information if you're interested in having a similar conversation, or if you have some expertise in that area that you would be willing to share. Or if you are still just questioning, I don't know, I want to talk about this too, but I don't have any answers. And then we will help to kind of connect those groups, or you can reach out directly. And we're trying to make this that passing of the business cards, right, that we normally do at the conference. So try to scan through our questions and our ideas and put on there any contacts that you think, or even resources, if there's places that you'd like to point people to, anything that you think would be helpful related to the topics.
I think while people are scanning that, the other theme that's kind of in that area is, what are people thinking they want to keep from COVID, right? So we just talked about it. It certainly identified that we needed more IDs and more support people than what we have. But so there's a few things on our campus that have come from this that really I don't want to lose, right? I would like to see them continue or to see them expand, right? People certainly stepped outside of their comfort zones to try things, and we've discovered some things that work really well. So I can see people asking that in here in a couple different ways. What have we learned from COVID, or what are we going to keep? Does anyone have anything that they would like to see stick around, other than this flexible working from home, right? And getting us a few more IDs maybe to help support all this new work. Yeah, and I see Teresa saying humanity, and it's funny because that is exactly what the students said. If you were in the student session, they really appreciated how much more humanity and sincerity, maybe even, that they felt like was coming from the campuses at all the levels.
Yeah, and I love how open faculty are to asking for help now. It's like, please help me, and also it's getting faculty to share has become a little bit easier, right? It's like getting faculty to help each other. I think I'd love to see that stay around.
And I'm just reading through the chat here real quick. Yeah, so I'm seeing the combination of, right, the in-person training combined with that remote training. Our adjuncts have been asking for that for years. And at Fredonia, we hadn't had the infrastructure to really allow that to be done well. And now with some additional technology, that's certainly something we can offer on a regular basis. And I think, we used to offer things at lunchtime, and we'd have some adjuncts like flying into campus, do a quick training, and then fly back off campus. How much nicer would it have been if they could have just stayed where they were, and how much more would they have gotten from it? So I think we're going to try to see a lot more of that from our campus.
Yeah, and I think that this experience has helped our faculty understand that we're not scary people, right? The instructional designers who are here, and we want to be those helpful people. And maybe that let us shine a little bit of light on the fact that we really want to be helpful. And it's okay if they don't know how to turn on the computer. We're not going to judge, but we'll help them get to the point where they can post information on their course management system and be able to interact in their virtual classrooms. And we've really seen some faculty who have just taken this whole experience and used it as a learning opportunity. And I mean, that's really what higher ed and education is supposed to be all about, right? It's not just the students learning, it's us too. So some people, not having a choice, have really embraced it, and that's been awesome to see.
We had some faculty in a training say to us that they wish they'd been paying attention longer, right? They knew that we had been offering all of this all along. And some of them saying things like, well, we thought you were just going to make us do it your way, so we didn't want to come to training, because then they had no reason not to do it our way. But in reality, they should have just been doing it our way in the beginning, and this would have been easier on them. So yeah, I really appreciate the realization that we're not here to force people's hands, right? We're here to show you some methods that we know work, and then willing to adapt it to what it is that you're trying to do in your class. And I think that has really come to light in these recent, especially over the summer where we hosted just 1 million trainings, right? And
Yep.
we have a team at Fredonia that is faculty based that joined us when this all happened. And always hearing faculty to faculty, right, is so valuable, how they've done it in their classes and what has worked and what hasn't. So it's been very valuable. And somehow we've convinced that team to keep with us. And I keep expecting them to like hide in the weeds from me every time I show up. But so far, so good. Hopefully they'll hang on.
That's good. Yeah, some of our faculty that offered to help other faculty learned a lot too. So they got some different ideas for their own courses, and they learned about, you know, how other disciplines maybe were approaching remote instruction or online instruction. So I think that it was even our folks who I would consider, they're kind of our Blackboard experts, right? That's why we picked them, but they still learned a lot about how other faculty are teaching on campus, which was really a neat experience.
Yeah, I think when we had our faculty doing workshops, they were actually shocked at the different levels of faculty. So when we were getting a question of what's the difference between if I'm going to upload or download, they were shocked that there would be somebody on the campus that wouldn't know the difference between upload and download because they're our online faculty. Or what's the difference between a link and a hyperlink?
Right.
And so I think some of our online faculty who were doing some of these workshops, they were like, I never realized kind of just that spectrum of I'm asking you this question, but there are other people on campus that are asking you this question. And so I think they saw a bigger picture of how instructional designers actually fit into the mix of everything. So it was kind of nice for them to see, wow, when I bother you about that one question, I'm so sorry that you're getting. So it was just kind of eye-opening, I think, for everybody.
I have a comment about the second last item on the document. So someone made the wonderful suggestion of more theater skills for lecture recordings. And first of all, whoever said that, you should say, yeah, it was me. And I agree with you 100%. Is this anything that SUNY or CPD can assist with? And actually, there was one workshop, right? That was not too long ago, but maybe can be done more often. And even on the improv side, I know our lovely Mark McBride got a lot of his skills through improv classes. So that would be kind of another avenue that I think people would love to sign up for. And we have so many theater faculty across our
Well, let me say that it was me, and
Who are you?
it was a workshop that was offered from SUNY. It was about 3 hours, and it was a theater teacher. And it was just the first time I got that kind of training, and 3 hours was just so helpful about preparing, changing voice, volume. She said to stand up, lighting. So it was recorded, so it's out there, and more like that, or do it again, I'd recommend it.
Thank you. Thank you, Lisa.
Thanks, Lisa.
Jamie, do you have a mic on to talk about the Otter Institute real quick?
Sure, yeah, so it's just in the preliminary phases, but we found such success last summer with the Remote Teaching Institute. We just thought we'd continue to move that forward. We're going to rename it, not the Remote Teaching Institute, because we're really going to navigate away from remote teaching right back to more our standard modalities. So we were trying to come up with something clever. And so the Otter Institute, it is, online teaching and blah, 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 educational resources. And so we're going to offer something that in June, it's going to focus on the design of online materials, online course materials. And then in August, we're going to focus on the delivery of those materials. So that gives the people the opportunity at the beginning of June to kind of say, this is what I'm going to work on this summer when I have some time to breathe and some space to move around in my brain. And then they'll have July to work on that content. And then just before students come in and start participating in those courses, we'll offer some workshops that focus on delivery strategies, and authentic assessment, or like authentic feedback, and in this acting kind of class. That sounds amazing, right? How to make yourself sound and come across as dynamic as you are, and to share your enthusiasm for your subject matter. So I think that's what we're really going to focus on. I think that earlier in the chat I had posted about the Otter Institute, and we're just forming the working group now. So if there's anybody who's particularly passionate about, kind of informing what sessions people might want to hear or see, feel free to reach out to me. My email is jamie.heron@suny.edu. I'll put that in the chat and you can reach out to me there. Again, this would be free for SUNY campuses, just like the Remote Teaching Institute was, because we recognize that this kind of programming is of great value to everybody, and everybody's budgets are hit hard right now. So.
Thanks, Jamie. And is there a page, I was looking for it, but I can't seem to find it, where a lot of the recordings are housed?
Yeah, for the Remote Teaching Institute?
Yeah, I thought that there was like one whole recordings page, but maybe I was wrong.
Yes, so I will pull that up right now and I'll post it here in the chat. We have two separate ones, but the Institute link has both the Remote Teaching Clinic, which we ran when we did that pivot last spring, but the Institute has the playlist for both of those, for the summer and for the spring that we did. And I'll post that here in the chat. Just give me a second.
Okay, thank you.
And Jamie, are you including just the recordings for the Remote Teaching Institute, or there were other webinars beyond that as well? And I guess I'm not sure what you're sharing.
I'm going to share the playlist for the Remote Teaching Institute, which I thought had the clinic on it as well, but apparently it doesn't. So I'll share both. Here is the Remote Teaching Institute link, and then I'll post the one for the clinic as well, which is the RTC. There you go. And earlier I had posted the link to the HighFlex series that we did back in December, but I'll post that again too, just in case people want to see that.
So Jamie, I think my question is, and I don't know if Erin's here, but aren't these all available on the webinars page?
Oh, of the, yeah, sorry, I'm thinking of all our EA events. You're right. I can send them to the faculty.
Yeah, and I think, and they're categorized, so you can look for things on accessibility or things on remote labs, or
I think that's the one that I was thinking of.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
It's been a really
I couldn't
long
explain.
week.
I couldn't articulate which one I was talking about.
Yeah, let me find it for you.
We'll take all the resources.
Right.
Put them all in the chat.
And what we can do is we can take the information from the chat, and maybe we'll make a little resources part at the end of this document. And then we'll ask Alex to post the link to the document again out under our recordings up for this session, so that if folks do want to go back in and take a look at some of the resources, we can kind of have a curated list there. But then if you want to go back and look at who you may want to connect with, or any questions that are up there, we'll make all that available.
So I think we have like 3 minutes left, and I know Alex wanted just a minute or two at the very end, but does anyone have anything that they came in here for that we didn't address, that we maybe can grab some resources and add it to it, or reach out to you? Is there anything you can either add it in the document and we'll double check that, or you can add it in the chat, and we'll circle back and see what we can find solutions for and share those out. All right, Alex, while they're thinking about that, do you want to take it away?
Thank you. Thanks to you, Lisa, and to you, Danielle, for coordinating this session. I so appreciate your willingness to kind of wrap up the summit for us with this session, this particular type of session of where we're looking back and reflecting and trying to think about what we carry forward with us into the next year, so we don't lose some of that energy and enthusiasm or ideas. I love that idea, actually. So I did want to take a minute to, can you guys see my screen well enough? To thank some people that have contributed to this event. Doing a virtual event and changing some of the activities, and in some cases coming up with stuff on the fly. The Summit After Dark happened on Tuesday night. So I just want to thank folks who contributed over the course of the last year to all the ideas. There's the Summit check-in group, and you see the folks listed there. And this year I had the added privilege and honor to work with Doodle and folks from the Provost's office to have input into the program. And so I just want to take a minute to say thank you to all of them for their input and their help in designing the program. Now I can't figure out how to advance slides. Oh, there we go. And then thanks to Erin Maney for lots of things, including being the Twitter captain this year again, and for her amazing work on the Ambassadors program and the Effective Practices program. It takes a team and a village to do everything that we do. And so we're so grateful and thankful for our own internal staff, our related staff, and the larger community that contributes. No, wait, sorry, there's another there. I've skipped over one of them. And then of course we couldn't do this without the CPD. I just want to make sure to thank and acknowledge everyone at the CPD for all of their assistance with this virtual event. It is a huge undertaking, and without them we would not have been able to do this. I could rest easy knowing that the technology side of it was being taken care of. So I so appreciate their help, and especially Nancy Motondo and Michaela Rem. I mean, Jamie and Chris and Victoria and Jennifer all helped and worked and did the moderating and all of that. But I met regularly with Nancy and Michaela to help figure out all the details that we needed to figure out, including hand-holding speakers who had trepidation and so forth. So I just want to make sure to shout out to them as well. There's our Twitter team, which I think I already showed. And then I just wanted to make sure that you all know and are aware that the materials and the recordings, I think Erin may have already posted this in the chat, but they are available. We have links to the recordings, except for today, up already. And I am working on collecting the related slides and related resources to put them on that page as well. And then of course we want feedback on the event. And so we have set up a survey to help collect some information from participants in the event that we can use to improve things and to understand how things went for the participants. So I think it's a wrap, at least for this part of the summit. I'm hoping to continue conversations and continue to interact on various topics, that some of which we talked about today. And there will be a summit next year. I'm not sure where or how or when, but I am really looking forward and curious myself to see what we end up doing for this next year. So I just want to thank everyone for everything, and really a labor of love here. It's been so incredibly inspiring, all the presentations and all the engagement from the participants, from faculty to IDs and leaders, and it's just been really inspiring, I think, for all of us to have this time this week to come together in this way. Also, the social part of it, I've loved seeing everybody that I haven't seen in a million years. So yeah, it's been really great. Thank you very much, everybody.
All right, and thank you to you, Alex, because we know even while this is going on, you're scrambling in the background to make sure that it keeps going. So it's sometimes hard to enjoy from that perspective. So we really appreciate everything that you're doing in the background to make sure that this is running every year, even in the midst of a pandemic, that we can still make it happen, right? So everyone, thank you for coming this afternoon. Danielle and I will go through this document and clean it up some. So if you want to pop back in like a week, we'll try to get some themes together and put some of the help resources to tie together so that hopefully this document will continue to be useful for you as we move forward. And hopefully we'll see some of you soon on future Doodle calls and everything else that we all do. So thank you, everyone.